Picture yourself on a Sunday evening and you get that familiar knot of dread as it tightens in your stomach as Monday approaches. You might be scrolling through social media, trying to distract yourself, but that feeling of dread is getting harder to ignore. You then have that feeling on Monday like you're pushing a boulder uphill every single day just to make it through to Friday. That's not just the grind. That's your body staging a rebellion. It's your professional intuition telling you that you're on the wrong path. Let me share a story with you that outlines how powerful intuition can be. I was out with my friends one night in a bar, and the second we walked in through the front doors, I remember having a bad feeling about the place. Something just felt off. We headed over towards the bar, and I remember asking my friends if any of them had a bad feeling about the place as well. They all said that they didn't, so we ordered our drinks and carried on, just talking amongst ourselves. But my sense about the place, my sense of unease was just growing, so I decided to call it a night, and I said my goodbyes and I went home. A bit later, I remember receiving a text from one of my friends to say that a fight had broken out in the bar just after I left, and the police were called and the bar had to close, and it was all very chaotic. Now, while that situation was a dramatic example of intuition with immediate consequences, it does highlight how powerful intuition can be when we listen to it. But what about the times that we don't? Professional intuition might be the most valuable, yet the most ignored form of inner guidance that we have. That nagging feeling that something isn't right with your career path isn't just a random discomfort. It's your intuition trying to protect you from wasting years of your life. That's exactly what I want to help you with today. In this video, I'll tell you about 3 signs you could be ignoring your intuition in your career and professional life. And I'll share some practical advice on how to start listening to those internal signals again, to create work that truly fulfills you. Let's get into it. I'm pulling from personal experience here. Every sign I'm about to share with you is a sign that I've ignored in the past. The first sign is that feeling of living for the weekend. Now, don't get me wrong, we all look forward to downtime or events, even when we love what we do. But back when I worked in finance, and I truly didn't enjoy it, my intuition was screaming at me that I was on the wrong path. And I was almost seeking external sources of happiness to compensate. If I didn't have something in the diary to look forward to, something exciting like a holiday or a festival, then I actually felt depressed. The idea of having something exciting to look forward to is kind of what got me through the week. And if you find yourself living for that next event, then that's a big sign you're ignoring your intuition. The second sign is the uphill battle. Back then, every single workday felt like rolling a boulder up a hill. Nothing flowed. Every email felt exhausting, and there were a lot of them. Every meeting just completely drained my energy. And then even like simple tasks took twice as long as they should have. When I tried to recruit for my finance business, it was a constant struggle. I'd find someone and then for one reason or another, it wouldn't work out. I'd network. I must have contacted thousands of people on platforms like LinkedIn, and I'd just get nothing. And I couldn't work out why my career just felt like I was navigating through treacle. But this was just another sign that I was ignoring my intuition. Now, I'm not saying life should always be easy, but it shouldn't feel like everything is against you all of the time. The third sign is the "what else would I do" excuse. And this was probably the biggest barrier between me and my intuition. I left school when I was 16, and my first job was an office junior in a mortgage brokerage. I used to make teas and coffees for the clients, and I kind of worked my way up in finance until I ended up having my own limited company. But I didn't enjoy it. My intuition just kept whispering that this wasn't for me, it wasn't right, but I drowned it out with "what else would I do?" That was my question. I didn't want to be employed again. I liked being in control of my diary and the hours that I worked. If I went back employed, it felt like that old saying of out of the frying pan and into the fire. And outside of finance, I didn't have any experience or knowledge in any other area to start something new. And so that was that. I stayed where I was and I ignored one of the clearest intuitive calls I have ever had. And that's what so many people do, because this excuse often masks a deeper fear of the unknown. It's easier to stay in a predictable but unfulfilling situation instead of risking failure, I guess, in a new field. So have any of these signs resonated with you? If so, what's next? Because I get it. I know that you can't always make drastic changes overnight. I stayed in finance for years, ignoring my intuition, until finally I made the leap. And when I did, everything changed. The uphill battles became opportunities. The Sunday night dread just completely disappeared. And I found work that gave me energy rather than drained it. And remember, one alternative is doing nothing. And doing nothing is a guaranteed way to stay stuck. So let me ask you this. What do you fear most? Uncertainty or still being where you are now in 10 years' time? So let's step it up from doing nothing. And that first step is super simple, at least on the surface. You just have to be open and willing to change. How heavily do you identify with the current version of yourself? Because the stronger your identity with your current role, the harder it is to hear what your intuition is trying to tell you about change. People with a flexible identity, those that are willing to adapt their opinions and beliefs as they learn, they are more likely to be the ones that build a life that they love and create purpose and fulfillment while being guided by their intuition. And now think about the opposite to that. A person that's stuck in their career, it doesn't feel right, but they won't leave because they'd see leaving as failure. If that career is all they've ever done, it becomes their identity. And if they are unable to be flexible about that, perhaps challenge their perspective on failure, then those limiting beliefs will keep them stuck. So let me give you some practical advice. And this is really simple stuff, but don't let that fool you because this works. Start small. Brainstorm unconventional ideas and talk to someone who can challenge your thinking. And most importantly of all, be ready to act when an opportunity arises, because trust me, it will. And if you're looking for a roadmap to reconnect with your intuition and create these opportunities for yourself, that's exactly what I help my clients do. Reach out and we can explore what's possible for you. I'll leave a link below in the description, because the biggest mistake I see people make is looking for conventional solutions. And I did this, job sites, standard career advice, things like that. But your intuition is calling you to think differently. What is your unique brand? What unconventional skills could you share or explore? These simple steps might seem basic, but they create space for your intuition to be heard again. Just like that night when I was at the bar with my friends and something fell off. My intuition was warning me about potential danger that nobody else seemed to pick up on. I listened and avoided what could have potentially been a bad situation. That was just one night, one decision. Imagine what might happen when you start listening to your intuition every single day, in your career, in your relationships, your life choices. The signals are already there. I recommend watching this video next to understand why trusting your intuition is now more important than ever.